that. Why Neera Tanden? She's totally unqualified for this position. Like, she's not an economist. She went to law school. She worked for Hillary Clinton. And then all she's done at this think tank for the last 10 years is raise millions of dollars from Silicon Valley, Wall Street, despots in the Gulf states, which is the real base of the Democratic Party. So they want her to oversee the regulatory and budgetary and economic policy of the administration on behalf of their real constituencies, which is all those people from whom she's been raising millions of dollars. But the thing is, Tucker, that just makes her an ordinary Democrat. She's just a swamp creature in that regard. She's a deranged and dangerous person. I don't mean just politically. I mean, like, behaviorally. When she was working with Hillary Clinton to get Hillary Clinton elected, one of her own reporters at this think tank was arranged to have an interview with Hillary and asked Hillary about the Iraq War, and Neera Tanden was so angry she punched him, and then later she claimed she merely pushed him. When she was running an all-staff meeting about 3 years ago, a woman who works at the think tank had filed a confidential complaint about sexual harassment against one of Neera Tanden's male allies, and this is something that would ruin anyone else's career in Washington. She outed this woman at the all-staff meeting out of vengeance. When the Obama administration was bombing Libya into oblivion, she suggested internally that the way we should reduce our deficit as a nation is to use Libya's oil to make them pay us back for the favor of having destroyed their entire government.
Yeah, shout out to everybody on the chat. I'm really glad you guys are all here. It seems like people are really itching to hear more about Neera Tanden. Prop, I know that she's the reason why you were kicked out of Twitter. But Dak, what position is Biden trying to put her on?
Oh, Neera Tanden?
Yeah.
Neera Tanden is going to be on the Office of Management and Budget. She's going to be the director. Now, the current executive, I'm trying to find this out right now. I'm just taking a quick look at this. Neera Tanden, by the way, was one of Bill Maher's regular guests. She's been on his show several times and has revealed that she knows absolutely nothing about the Second Amendment or about guns in general.
That's true.
What's that?
That's true, yes.
So Neera Tanden being selected to this position is very, very interesting because Neera Tanden, despite the fact that she's referred to as a progressive, has been the most vocal critic out there, not just of Bernie Sanders, but also of everything that Bernie Sanders has advocated for. During the pandemic, people were telling her that now might be a good time to consider the possibility of universal health care, and she was arguing against that because she's such a big supporter of the health insurance lobby in the pharmaceutical industry. So Joe Biden selecting such a fierce enemy of progressivism. I mean, she's basically a punchline on progressive Twitter. The idea that Joe Biden would select her is such a risky move that actually the BBC published an article today questioning whether or not she was actually going to be approved by the Senate. Republicans despise her, and Republicans do hold a majority at the moment, and progressives are not going to be inclined to support her. I mean, I'm sure Bernie Sanders will lie down and allow her to sodomize him once again, but there's going to be some serious pushback from people. I'm not sure that she's actually going to hold this post.
What was her position on the Second Amendment, Reed?
Oh, well,
I mean, I can imagine, but what are some of the things that she said?
Well, I actually know her mostly from I used to watch Bill Maher's show a lot, and she was a very regular guest. And there was one show where they had Colion Noir.
That's the one I was talking about.
Oh, that's the one you're talking about, yeah. And yeah, I mean, I think they talked about the stand your ground law was one thing that I remember. And the stand your ground law, Dak and I were just talking about this when I saw him. If you have an exit that you can escape out of, you're not allowed, or it's going to be hard to defend yourself in court if you defend yourself with a gun without trying to run out of the door. So unless your back is literally to a wall and there's nothing else you can do, if someone's shooting at you, then you can shoot them. And she's against that decision. I know she's against pretty much every Second Amendment idea out there. I mean, she's against. I think she's kind of an extremist, actually. I think she And this is the weird thing about anti-gun extremists. I don't know how serious they are because they know it's a position that is unrealistic. But she wants pretty much every single gun control idea that has ever surfaced to be implemented. And everyone should watch that episode with Bill Maher and Colion Noir. And Neera Tanden, and she just makes an idiot out of herself on stage because she doesn't know anything about guns. I think they were talking about the assault weapons ban, and that was really revealed that she doesn't know the difference between any types of functions of firearms. And Colion Noir is one of the few eloquent defenders of the NRA. I'm not a fan of the NRA, but he's one of the few people that I think actually makes good cases for them, and he took her to task with a liberal audience that didn't really cheer him off the stage on Neera Tanden's side. So it's a good episode to check out. I can send you a link to it or something. So
yeah.
What Noir said, they showed the photographs of the man who was found to have hundreds of rifles in his home, and this was supposed to terrify the liberal audience. Colin Noir said he only has two hands, to which Neera Tanden replied, aghast, "What do you mean he has only two hands? What does that mean?" She was, yeah.
With her voice.
Yeah.
So, Dak, you probably read into this more, but didn't she play a crucial role, a key role in the DNC rigging against Bernie Sanders in the WikiLeaks files? What does WikiLeaks say about Neera Tanden?
Well, what WikiLeaks shows is that she has a very close relationship to John Podesta. The WikiLeaks releases are known to as the Podesta emails, because she was one of the most provocative statements that she made during her time associated not just with Podesta but also with Hillary Clinton was when she had talked about the possibility of Libya paying the United States in oil for what we had done. It's a famous quote of hers. I don't have the exact wording in front of me, but she said they have.
I saw Richard Medhurst pull it up. I think I can look for it and then read it if I find it.
Yeah, it's like Syria has a lot of oil. We have a big deficit, something like that.
Yes, yeah. Syria, not Libya. I apologize. Yes. Now I'm looking at a few other things. She's also a hardcore Russiagator. She's gone on Bill Maher and has insisted that WikiLeaks has coordinated with the Russian government. She's also said that WikiLeaks is a pro-Trump organization, which is the furthest thing from the truth. This was during the same episode when Roger Stone went on Real Time. Neera Tanden was just one of his guests there. And she she is like we were talking earlier about Ron Klein serving in various capacities. Neera Tanden served on several Democratic presidential campaigns. She worked with Michael Dukakis all the way back in '88, Bill Clinton in '92, Barack Obama in 2008, Hillary Clinton in 2016. She was a campaign advisor. She was apparently she helped draft the Affordable Care Act, and she had also worked on Hillary Clinton's campaign in 2008. So if you're expecting a significant shift from the status quo, then you don't know what you're talking about, because this woman is as rooted within the establishment as you can possibly be. More of the same.
Yeah, and their goal is to strengthen that establishment. So things are going to get progressively worse and worse. So that's what nothing will fundamentally change. It means that nothing will fundamentally change in terms of the progress that's going towards benefiting the elite. I think it's only a matter of time if Biden does choose her, for Bernie to praise her, for AOC to praise her. How do you guys think that people on the left at least are going to take that, considering, everything, all the horrible shit that she did against Bernie Sanders and his supporters? They'll
take him lying down. I was so mad when Rand Paul was talking about blocking Mike Pompeo's nomination, and he hammed it all up. He was going to filibuster it and everything, and then he ended up just rolling over and voting for him. When I think he could have actually, it was a pretty close vote, and I believe, and he could have made a difference. But Trump kind of slapped him on the wrist and said, "Hey, you got to do this." They'll do the same thing with Bernie. That's why I'm just done with Democrats and Republicans, because I just don't care. they're so lame. I mean, you occasionally get someone like Tulsi or Ron Paul, but 99% of them they're jokes. They grandstand, and then ultimately they just roll over. And the people that do that are the most dangerous to your movement. The ones who grandstand and then vote with the establishment, and that's what almost all of the progressive people in Congress do, I think. And I don't think that there are enough people holding their politicians accountable, because no one really cares about voting records. They only care about speeches and excitement, and so I think they'll ultimately just roll over with it. They'll see a few people like you and a few others, but the most part, I think it'll just happen. So
Neera Tanden continues the problem, not just with the relationship of media and state, because she hasn't just been on Bill Maher. She's also contributed to MSNBC, CNN. She's even been on Fox in the past. And apparently, I learned today she used to have a regular column for the New Republic. But the thing is, Neera Tanden is a personal friend of Hillary Clinton's, not just a colleague of hers. And so when Hillary Clinton lost in 2016, Neera Tanden presumably lost some type of position within the administration. Would it have been this directorship of the Office of Management and Budget, or would it have been something else? We don't know. But the thing is, because of that, she has had a personal vendetta against Trump, Bernie Sanders, WikiLeaks, and anybody else who had presented any kind of opposition to Hillary Clinton. And so that's what she is on Twitter. She's a propagandist because she's been desperately trying to get herself a job within the Biden administration if and when it came to fruition. And here we are. She's getting what she wants. And this is going to drive the progressives nuts, because they absolutely hate this woman, and the idea that she would be rewarded with such a powerful governmental position, it's really going to be something that they just cannot forgive.
This is one last thing to close off on the Neera Tanden thing. This is something that needs to be called out, because more people need to realize who are the honest actors and who are not the honest actors on the left. Cenk Uygur tweeted this out about Neera Tanden. He said, Neera Tanden has been waiting for this appointment for 4 unending years now. All of her hard work inside the establishment paid off, and now she's in a power position to help direct world's largest resources. Now we're going to find out who she is, and so is she. Rooting for her. Rooting for her. Why are you rooting for her? We know who she is. She's shown who she was all these years that she's worked for the establishment. And more people need to realize who people like Cenk Uygur are. This is somebody who receives money from Clinton surrogates, and then you think that that's not going to affect the way that he delivers the news. It's just so frustrating to see how there's so many people that still trust these people like Cenk Uygur. But Reed and Dak, what do you guys think about this tweet?
Yeah, I mean, it reminds me of, Austin Peterson is the libertarians guy who's kind of doing the same thing. Like, he's been in the Libertarian Party for so long, and then, he started moving away from it, and he just full on was simping for Trump this year. And it's got to feel kind of the same way. Like, Cenk Uygur is a very similar guy. You could see it coming for a long time. I actually used to watch him back in Obama's years, because I thought they were actually somewhat journalistic and somewhat independent. But kind of like Bill Maher, they just slowly got worse and worse and worse.
Yeah.
But I don't personally know anyone who actually thought Biden would be progressive, who would consider themselves a leftist, who voted for him. I just think they thought Trump was slightly worse. I really don't, aside from seeing some people on Twitter who I don't know how serious they are, I don't know any serious progressive who thought, yes, Biden is my guy and he's going to appoint people I like and do things I want him to do. I don't think that's a very widespread opinion. And I think we're acting like it is wider than it is. You know, I felt like you really only saw that from politicians. Like, you only saw it from Bernie Sanders saying he is going to be the most progressive since FDR or whatever. I didn't meet anyone in real life who thought that. So,
go ahead.
Yeah, the only thing I want to say is that I did know offline some hardcore Bernie Sanders supporters who decided to vote for Biden because they thought he was going to appoint left-leaning judges, whatever that means. But obviously, therefore, they're not serious progressives. I think that Bernie Sanders was encouraged to run the second time around by the DNC because they knew that he was going to be very helpful in shepherding progressives, serious or not, into the fold when Bernie Sanders would lose. And the fact that he went and claimed that he was going to hold a position in Biden's cabinet and then it turns out that he's not going to. Yeah. I mean, this man is a liar. And I see certain people on Twitter, such as what's his name, Walker Bragman or whatever his name is. God. He was the biggest Bernie Sanders cheerleader. And now he's trying to rebuild his brand as Biden's biggest critic. But he doesn't understand his own role in brainwashing people and convincing them that Bernie Sanders was a person worth trusting.
They fit the definition of a grifter. They're grifting people to the establishment. And like you said, it's not just Walker, but also I think TYT, they're gonna make a living off of criticizing Biden now as if they didn't help to get him elected.